What up, what up, what up? Real Fans Podcast back at it again. Episode 54 on this June 9th, 6-9 day. How y'all doing? I'm Gabe. That's JoJo. That's Julian. There. What's up with y'all, man? How y'all boys doing?
What's going on, Gabe?
What it do? Listen.
I mean, we got a couple topics this weekend.
I saw Gabe because I don't know if you heard real quickly before we go into the first topic with Tua clapping back at Twitter followers. That's why Gabe was in there for support. He was in there doing the good old fight. That's why he's got his hat on.
When we go one, we go all. Okay, we're a hashtag Tuanon. Okay,
Tuanon.
Man, that's horseshit, man. Listen, there's so much shit. I've never seen so much dialogue in a.
It's honestly hilarious.
It's not even preseason. We're not even in training camp. We're nothing. We're barely in hurricane season in Miami. And they're talking about Tua. It's so much conversation around Tua.
Bro, the amount of hate, there's like this shit talk this man gets on an everyday basis. He had to go on his press conference. It was like, right. Yo, fuck y'all. That's like,
well, who was talking the talk?
It's just he's talking just like all the backlash he's been getting and all the hate.
Answering to fans like on Twitter or just
no, he said it in a press conference. He was like fighting back to the Twitter backlash of just like, with the wobbly ball he threw that went viral a couple weeks ago.
One wobbly ball. This is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about NFL later. But let's get into it. Right now, we're in the middle of the NBA Finals. We just saw Game 3 last night. The series is going on. Boston's up 2-1. They're going to play Game 4 in Boston again. Let's just kind of recap because we kind of talked about the series before going ahead of time. I think I had Golden State. I think, Julian, you had Golden State as well, did you?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all had Golden State. Was it a sweep? I think it was all sweep.
I think JoJo had Celtics.
I did not say sweep. Golden State, I said 4 and 6. But, man, look at Boston. What's going on over here, bro?
Yeah, so let's talk about the series. Let's talk about the series so far. We can talk about Game 2, Game 3. Like I said, Game 3 we played last night. I don't know what you took away. JoJo, what have you seen so far in the series? Warriors, Celtics. What do you got?
All I remember we said before the series even started was that there's no way Boston's going to outlast Golden State shooters, in which they're actually proven to. Shout out Boston's defense. We knew they had great defense, but they're actually showing out. Steph Curry's been going off. They haven't found a way to stop him, but the rest of the role players and everyone else, they're kind of calming them down in a sense. And the point I want to bring is, have you guys seen Draymond Green's stat lines those last 3 games?
It's terrible.
The heart and soul team. He's bringing a physicality. This man's averaging 6 fouls a game, so he got fouled out 2 games.
He's averaging 6. I've never heard such a stat, by the way. This is a ridiculous.
He's averaging a foul out. They just need to say averaging a foul out every game.
He's averaging 6 fouls a game. Right, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. What all those random stats? Triple single. Draymond Green's bringing it, but he's bringing that physicality, right? But it's only doing so much, man. Boston's offensive 3-point threat, they've awoken. I know you guys saw that third quarter they had, or that fourth quarter, where they were just lights out. I think it was game 1 where they just took the game by storm over there in the Bay Area, which is crazy. And you'd expect Golden State to bounce back, which they did in game 2. They have the home court advantage. And then game 3, I don't know if you guys saw the game last night. It was a pretty good game, pretty close game. But Boston found a way to find separation. They had a 10-point, 11-point lead and just kept them at an arm's length so that they couldn't catch up. But, Klay's been struggling the first 2 games. He kind of had a good run yesterday, but it just wasn't enough team effort there. Tatum, a lot more explosive on his drives from the first 2 games. I just seen he was reaching for contact. That's all kind of what he wanted going to the free throw line. But last night he was really focused on his finishes. This guy was out there with finesse, just laying up, finishing, catching the N1s. He wasn't looking for the contact. He was going beyond the contact. And I think that was a big difference. Of course, Jaylen Brown's going to do his thing offensively and defensively as well.
God damn. Draymond Green scored 2 points last night with 35 minutes played.
He was terrible. He was
35 minutes.
Oh, and at that point, hold on. You see what we're doing now? We're recording a podcast. after his press conference, he went home and recorded on his podcast.
I mean, you can't talk too much shit. I mean, you put that fucking box score up. It's pretty terrible. My takeaways from the game was, I mean, I think Boston came out. They came out, hot. I mean, obviously they're playing at home. The first game in the Garden. I feel like they had the first two quarters, and the Warriors were able to come back that third quarter. They were able to make it even and come close.
Yes, that is Golden State's quarter for sure.
And then, but obviously Boston closed it out. I think my biggest takeaways are, what people are talking about is like how Boston is much bigger, taller, they're longer. They are.
Yep.
So like one thing I saw on defense when the Warriors are on defense, when Steph is getting drawn into the baseline into the middle, like it's pretty bad because they're attacking Steph. And when he's not at the top, like at the top around the 3-point line, when he's being drawn in like that, like there's no way they're getting beaten every time. I think they have to play like better with zone defense. Draymond obviously, he's their defensive tower right there. So he's got to play better. They got to do better zone to play on defense because offensively, shout out to what's his name? Oh, damn, I'm gonna forget the coach's name.
Tatum?
Fuck. No, the coach. The coach.
Oh, the coach for Boston.
Yeah, the rookie coach. Anyways, shout out to him because they were able to like bingo mango the amount of play calling they were doing, like the give and goes they were doing was very effective. The best shot the Warriors had was that third quarter, and they just
Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka. That's what I want to say. I don't want to say Udoka, but I was like, no, Udoka. All right. So yeah, man, I think from the series, you can see how Boston can like kind of dismantle the Warriors. Like the Warriors, yes, they are a shooting threat. I thought offensively Steph was fine, but defensively Steph is a fucking liability. Jordan Poole is a liability. I think he had a couple plays, but also a liability on the field. I think this goes back to what we talked about earlier, how Boston is a better defensive team. They're more complete defensively.
Yeah.
They play better, more consistently over the course of the year.
About Jordan Poole. We've seen the way he's played, a tremendous player. He's developed himself. But I think he's trying to take those big shots, those kill shots, those Steph Curry-like shots in the wrong moments. He did in game 2. He had a big one at home. You're already up. He had that three-pointer way behind the three-point line, and then he followed up with that half-court buzzer beater, which was dope. But on the road, I saw yesterday, he was kind of forcing things up, going around screens, thinking he's Steph, just launching threes at the wrong moment when you should really be running a efficient play, get your guys involved, cut the score down, cut the difference down. But he's going for these bombs early on in the shot clock, and I'm just like,
bro, that's everybody. Everybody thinks they're Steph Curry now.
You know what I mean? Like he's great, he's amazing. But I'm like, there's a time and place for that. I don't know. That's just how I felt. Clay, bro. Every time Clay got the ball, this man was shooting. Every time he touched the ball, he pulled the trigger.
And I think another one thing I also noticed, Moses Moody was also kind of defensively like he's kind of the guy coming off the bench, and like if you get a move around him, like they were able to score around Moses Moody, which is pretty bad. Like especially if Draymond's putting up a terrible game, and you only have a few minutes to back him up. You get one move around him, like you're gonna score pretty much. Like he is good defensively, but laterally he cannot pretty much move, and like that's pretty like tragic for the series if you're kind of rely on defensive guys.
Trying to pull Rodman out here, like listen, you're one of the best, defensive players out here in the league, but you got to be able to score though. Your stat line isn't looking like Rodman, where he had 0 points and like 25 rebounds and 10 assists. You know what I mean? Like you're spread thin. 2 points, 6 fouls, 3 assists, couple rebounds. I mean, it's not really efficient play, which I know he's a playmaker. He's a playmaking defensive player. He sets his team up. I mean, he's a team full of shooters. Why would he need to score? But you need to be more effective in your role right now in the finals and find ways to adjust. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have a starter dropping 2 points. Like you're a starter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter like what position you are. You cannot be dropping 2 points in a
I mean, but he's not really known offensively. Like he's a cleanup guy. He's not really known for it. He can go off like he does.
Gabe, 2 points is unacceptable, bro.
I mean, that's pretty bad. That's bad. I'm not going to defend 2 points.
One field goal
but he's not offensive first.
I'm not telling them to drop 30, but like get a solid 15. Like,
no, he absolutely we can agree. He absolutely played terrible. Going into game 4, I mean, I think from the game, like I said, we saw how Boston can kind of chop up the Warriors. Like they're taller, bigger, longer. They're more creative offensively. I think they're a better defensive team. They do have what it takes to beat the Warriors. If the Warriors get lazy, like these are the Warriors of the Warriors past. They're not like, you know what I mean? These are guys that are like champions from like 3 years ago. So, and they're not any younger. And I think Boston's a little bit deeper, man. I think they can still a game 4. They can split this game 4 going forward. But it's not going to be off of lazy effort or Draymond shooting 2 points a game. Yeah. I mean, Jojo, how do you still feel about the series? You called it in 6, but I mean, do you still feel like it changes, or do you feel like it's going to be too early? It's too early to call it. Like we're swinging like bipolar. It's like
to go to 7 games, right? And it's all about adjustments, and both teams have the ability to adjust, as we can see. Boston came out strong, stole a game, in the Bay. Warriors came back. You saw the adjustments in that game. That game was even close at the end. Warriors demolished them. Then obviously in the TD Garden, you expect Celtics. All right, you took a rough loss on the road. We're at home. Made their adjustments offensively and defensively. It comes down to coaching. It's literally game by game, and I know it sounds cliche, but they're both very good teams, and it can literally go either way. We know Boston has the capability of winning, so it's really on the coaching and the adjustments that they're going to make. And it is possible Golden State could steal a game at the Garden. It's 100% possible. They are that good. It's just that when you see a team lose, you kind of see how they lose, right? Like what made them lose? Was it the effort? Was it the plays they were running? Lack of defense? Transitions? Like what was it? And it wasn't a bad loss on their end. Yeah, they did lose by like 10, 11, but they were right up in there in the third quarter. They just didn't close out Golden State. So it could go to 7.
So, Julian, we kind of talked about this with the Heat series, with the Heat playing Boston. Like it was kind of like feast or famine. Like if you lost by a lot. If you won, you won by a lot. So like how do you think? Do you think that it's telling that the Warriors lost by so much, or do you think this is like what JoJo's saying is a game by game? Like game 4 is going to be different from the previous games that they had.
I think it's just game by game, because obviously you see one game they lose, but then the next they win. It's just kind of, it's one of those, like, if you can get in rhythm, it's hard to stop Golden State when they start getting in a flow and they start like really, really flowing. But Boston's ability just to play defense, and Boston's also, their ability to win away has been extremely impressive this series, this whole playoff run. Like, that being able to win away is so huge, especially for them where they didn't have home court advantage for the past 2 series. And man, I would have never guessed that they would have came in there and won game 1 like that. That was so wild to me, and that alone makes me kind of flip flop what I think is going to happen. But
little things we can see that we can point out specifically for the Warriors to make those adjustments. Tatum made his adjustments from game 2 to game 3. We clearly saw, and that was a big difference. He was attacking stuff left and right. He got the ball. He made a move right there to the basket every single time and was looking to finish. And they had quick buckets because of that. Or he'll drive and dish it out to the corners and they'll pass it and they'll have open threes. But look what's happening. Draymond literally got fouled out 2 games in the finals. That's a quick adjustment there. He's trying to bring the physicality. Is it the smartest thing right now? Probably not. You have to do something else. Klay Thompson still hasn't really had a game for him. He had a decent game yesterday, but we're still not like the custom big Klay Thompson game, especially here in the finals. He's going to go off for a game, and that might be a difference maker. And I'm expecting Steph has been doing what he's doing. He's been consistent the last 3 games. He's been holding it down. So he's doing what he has to do. Defensively, I don't know, man. Steph is just going to be Steph. He's trying out there. You can see he's shuffling his feet.
I think, like I said, I think they're bigger than that. They're just bigger, longer. Yeah. They can get around them.
They're just more physical.
Once
come up more physical.
I'm telling you, when shoot, bro, and that whole team, that whole Golden State team can shoot the ball, and that's what's getting them back in. They had a 7-point possession. Did y'all see that? Steph's N1 3-pointer, then it was the technical foul, and then someone else hit a 3-point right after that. Literally had a 7-point possession in the third quarter. Like that team ball, they put up points. So Draymond has to step up.
That's the weird thing about basketball too. I guess it's kind of, you know, the thing to like about basketball is like the ebbs and flows. Is like sometimes your teams can be down, but still, like, you know, when it's the fucking Warriors, when you guys can shoot from 3, like you guys are shooting high percentage from 3, like 20-point lead don't mean nothing. Like that shit could be erased. You know what I mean? In one bad series, where, you know what I mean, we've seen runs where they go 26-0 or whatever. We've seen leads like that kind of be erased, which is kind of I guess the fun, exciting part about basketball.
Yeah, and I think like basketball, it's such a rhythm based thing too.
Like, I mean, you start, it sucks when
Gabe's lagging. Oh, are we there?
Down the line. Got it.
You good?
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah. Now. I was just saying that. I agree. Like basketball's such a rhythm based, like, where it's like you get on that right flow and that right just like rhythm, you'll just start draining. But then if you're not, it's really hard to come back from that. From what it seems.
Yeah. So game 4, any prediction going game 4? I mean, I still think that the Warriors can steal, but it can't be playing the same way that they played last night that they played. Julian, who do you got game 4? Who do you
got? I guess Boston, man. I mean, they're at home.
Wow.
So I mean, I got.
You gotta pick the home team. I did like the home favorites. I thought the home team were gonna keep their games at home, but obviously we split already in Oakland. All right, so let's get back into it. Game 4, our predictions. So I still think the Warriors can pull out. Like, I think they can still split in Boston. Julian said he's got the home team, Boston at home. Jojo, how do you feel about game 4? You feel they're gonna make adjustments?
I think it's going to be a split. They're definitely going to make the adjustments, and they're going to steal one on the road. I think that's how competitive this series is going to be. I don't think Boston, not that they're not good enough to win 2 in a row. I think Golden State is just good enough to make the adjustments with the experience they have and the coaching. And they really dissect. Like, they get in there, like Steve Kerr and his staff. They're just amazing at what they do to keep this team around and make their adjustments. So I think Golden State is going to take this next game.
All right, controversy, because we want to talk about controversial topics. Did you guys see that in the pregame shootout that when Golden State was shooting, somebody pointed out like, "Hey, yo, that hoop is a little too high. It's a little too high." So they actually brought out the equipment people. They put a little stick on the hoop, and guess what? It was like a couple inches a little off. Wow. I don't know if you guys saw the controversy. I don't know how do you guys feel about that. Do you feel like this was on purpose? Just it's accidental. We just put a couple.
It's like Deflategate.
No, man. You know what? No. I honestly, bro, I'm not the biggest conspiracy person. However you want to say that. But in the finals game, and you never hear anything about that in the regular season, but now that just happens against a team that could shoot lights out. If you have any advantage or any opportunity to take that away, just to mess up, their timing, however they shoot, like the way they set up, and then fix it before the game starts after the warm, that's ridiculous. I think
so. Their shootout was delayed. It was delayed because they had to stop, and somebody had to come out, and they had to get a guy on a ladder, and they had to go get a little screwdriver, just hand screw it down. Julian, I mean, wow, what's going on? Is this like is this fair game or like?
Wait, this is at Boston, right? This is at Boston, right? I'm not shocked. What else have you heard in Boston where things don't seem right? What was another time?
Oh, I'll tell you when things didn't seem right. When the Miami Heat shoot lower percentage from three than they have all year long. I mean, that's pretty suspicious, don't you?
I mean, what can you expect, man? Boston scumbags. Like, I mean, what? Like, what do you expect? The Patriots, now the Celtics. What else are they doing? Like, man,
Hey, don't get me started on the Red Sox now.
If it was any other,
don't get me started on the Red
like,
Sox.
who the fuck allowed Boston to put up the biggest fucking home run wall in the entire league? Who allowed that?
And
who let that happen?
There's also a coach that Gabe might know his name. That was part of that scandal with the Houston Astros. It's currently with Boston right now. So,
scumbags,
I'm just saying,
Spygate. Why the fuck does the Green Monster even exist? Like,
it's just weird when Miami Heat shoot terrible
Celtics
from three,
putting up
terrible shooting. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Having 11-foot tall goals. Like,
random though. Since we're talking about controversy, did you see the video of Paul Pierce yelling at fans, calling them idiots?
Oh yeah, that's weird. What is Paul Pierce doing? What is he doing?
Honestly, I think it's just bad blood between him and Golden State and Draymond Green. I don't know if you remember on his final season, he was like, "They don't love you like Kobe. You don't get a farewell tour." That was Draymond. He told him that.
Fuck Paul Pierce. That motherfucker shit himself. I don't care what anybody says. You can't talk shit when you shit yourself and pretend like you had an injury. Like, get the fuck out of here.
All right, let me put some respect on his name because you know what?
No, he shit himself in live TV.
Okay. Paul Pierce was a scary guy. Okay, let's take it back. LeBron.
Yeah, until he shit himself.
Going into Boston. One of the scariest things because that team was a shootout team. Obviously, they won a championship before. I'm gonna put respect on his name. Paul Pierce. I'm not saying he was one of these guys that's like just annoying. Like he's gonna do like well. Like he performed well in the playoffs. Not that he like achieved much. Like he didn't go too far. He only won one championship. So I'll just put respect on his name. That was one of the guys that I hated to face if I had to face him in the playoffs. Paul Pierce. All right.
He said put respect on Paul Pierce's name, but meanwhile he slanders Chris Paul.
Oh, Chris Paul. Oh, don't let me go. We're talking about Boston. Let's talk about Boston. So yeah, it was kind of weird because he's been on like some kind of like this kind of tour. Like he got I think he got voted top 75. Right? He was voted top 75. Am I correct in that?
Fan ambassador.
Yeah.
I believe he got put in the Hall of Fame. Is that correct? I believe he got put in the Hall of Fame recently. Was it this year or last year? Recently, he got put in the Hall of Fame. I believe. If not, he should be in the Hall of Fame. So he's all kind of on this like this kind of vibe of like, hey, look at me, hey, just guys, don't forget about me, I'm still around, this whatever. It's kind of weird. It's kind of look at me, kind of hey guys, I'm still here, I'm Boston all the way, blah 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 blah.
Bro, he's just trying to redeem himself, bro. I'm telling you, ever since he shit himself, ever since he shit himself, people been looking at him different. He's just trying to redeem himself.
I just say this: he's no Wade.
So it's not like someone discovered it. He came out and said it himself, or whatever the situation.
No, but the funniest part was that he swore that he was injured. He tried to play it off like he was injured.
But yeah, and yelling at fans. There was like 2 fans in Golden State, jerseys, and he's like
Boston at home. Yeah,
I don't like Paul Pierce, man. He seems like a dickhead. Like I don't know why. Like
he was just hyped. He was feeling himself. I think that was their first finals win since like 2008, home win.
Probably. I don't think it was the last time they've been there.
He was definitely off the Henny if he's screaming like that to fans. Like just let them have fun. You know how much those tickets were that they spent to go there? Like leave them alone. They probably love the interaction anyways. They probably didn't even care they're getting called idiots by Paul Pierce. Like for him
they want Paul Pierce to get bad. They want him to get angry.
No, for sure. They were probably egging him on the whole time. They probably weren't even watching the game. They were probably talking shit to Paul Pierce.
That is probably so funny. But speaking of Paul Pierce and Boston and the Big Three, we could say that was what we would consider the dawn and the beginning of the Big Three era. They were the first team that kind of got, I guess, affiliated with that saying. But now we're coming in at about 14 years later. Do you guys think that we have reached the end of the Big Three era?
I believe that we have. Beginning last season, it's really been teams of duos. We're in the duo era.
Duo.
Yeah, KD, Kyrie, LeBron, AD. There's a lot of other teams just had big duos on their teams. So yeah, I do think big three.
But I also think it's not just. I agree with you, but I don't think it's just duos, but just like teams with depth. Like we've gone to even like Boston, just like super deep teams, just and like Miami and Phoenix Suns, what they were before. Obviously, they fumbled the bag, but like,
as well.
yeah, I mean, like we've come to like just how it probably always should have been, just like really deep quality teams with quality benches, and then you have 1 to 2 superstars instead of just being so front loaded with like 3 guys.
I don't think so, man. I think the big three. I mean, big threes are still going to be a thing in the future. Like all these guys are friends. They all talk to each other. They all share agents. When it comes to All-Star Weekend, they're all fucking partying with each other and shit on the off. Especially on the off season, these guys are training with each other. They're going to whatever California. They're going.
Gabe, when was the last big three that won a When was the last big three that won a championship? Cleveland.
Cleveland. Who Mozgov? What are you talking? Cleveland.
Well, when they all bought out. No, but I'm saying
three. Tristan Thompson.
That's when they went back and they put all that money into Kevin Love and they retained Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. That was the last time. Like, what was the last time we saw a big I guess Brooklyn. That was a failed experience.
The Heatles. That's it. The Heatles.
No, Golden State. Jesus.
Oh yeah, also Golden State.
Durant, Thompson, and Curry.
I don't.
Yeah. Because Golden State,
for me,
they didn't need Durant.
But to me, like Golden State wasn't like 3. It's not like 3 guys though. I mean, that team was just really good. Like they had a really good team as a whole.
You throw in KD, this whole conversation changes. I don't care what. Yes, they had an amazing team on top of KD, which that's a big 5, bro.
Yeah, they didn't need.
That's
KD.
not 3 though. Like I'm talking about like specifically like when guys went out and just got 3. I guess the last one I would say the Nets would probably be the last one. Nah, think about it.
The Nets.
When they went out and got KD and they got Harden and they got Kyrie.
I wouldn't even consider that because 1, I wasn't in a winning team, and 2, they traded.
But I'm not talking about a winning team. I'm talking about like that was their goal, is to go out there and get 3 guys. They went and did that. It wasn't successful, but that's what they did. And we haven't seen anything since that. We haven't seen another team really do that same thing.
I think it's still possible, man. These guys, like I said, these guys are friends. They train with each other. They share agents and shit. So it's gonna happen again. I mean, these guys.
We'll had that big 3, that failed experiment. Paul George, Melo, and
almost had a big 4 if you consider.
There's a lot of failed experiments, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, we didn't know at the time, but
LA when they brought out the fucking retirement home big 3 with Kobe on his last, and Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, like
that was kind of. I mean,
2000s. You're talking more recent. LA.
No, I'm talking about like
Kobe,
that Steve Nash, Dwight Howard,
Dwight Howard, yeah.
It's
still gonna happen, man. It's still gonna happen. Like
I don't know. I think we're going more towards diversifying your salary, and I think seeing what Boston's doing now is going to reshape the way teams start building their teams.
Well, why Boston? Why not the Heat?
Boston's the one in the finals right now, and they're the one leading the series and could win the championship. The Heat aren't.
Yeah, but the Heat were right there, and they kind of have the same built team, just like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can say both of them, but at the end of the day,
I don't think
who's the one that's farther right now.
Okay, they won a Game 7, but in terms of you saying leading the way, in terms of like they started doing that first, like. No, I feel like the Heat's been building their team, and the Heat went to the final.
I mean, the Celtics have been building that team, have been consistently going to the playoffs without a true superstar for years.
2 years ago, they beat Boston to get there with kind of the same team. They didn't have a big three or anything like that.
So Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and
bubble frauds.
So you can say the Heat.
This is gonna trigger Gabe. Bubble frauds.
Guess what? In the bubble, they didn't have no cheating. They, all their shit was 10 foot. It wasn't inches between.
So, like I said, you gotta throw the Heat in that. I don't think the Boston is leading the way.
I said Heat first, even before I said Boston. At both those teams, but I think of Boston because for how many years in a row they've been like top 4 teams in the East, like top 4 in the East consistently without a true star. Because even when Kyrie went there, he essentially didn't even play for them. Like, that's why I'm saying Boston. Like, they've just consistently had a very strongly built team across like the bench and all their role players and everything.
All right, now I'm going to talk about CP3. Anytime we have UD teams in the playoffs, right? The stars rise, right? The stars show up. Can we all agree?
There you go.
The stars grow up. If you're a star, you show up, right? In the playoffs.
CP3 going after an old point guard.
Listen, the guy's been in the league for 30 years. Okay, you get to one final, and you're like, oh, he said I'm addicted. He's like, oh, I like the taste of final. I like it. You're not there. Okay. We're not watching you right now. Okay? You're at home somewhere. You're on the banana boat, Cancun, somewhere, watching. But no. Just talking in general, because this is what Julian tried to bring up. Like, I think teams, especially guys that get older and older. Like, we hope to see these young teams, right? I think of like Memphis, these young guys. You get a Ja Morant, a superstar, and you get a couple of guys around them, and you hope there's a kind of Cinderella teams that you kind of root for. Miami Heat, maybe they don't talk about them. We have guys that are pretty good, but maybe people don't talk about them. They don't regard them as superstars, and you kind of root for them to go deep in the playoffs or whatever. So I still think, as far as this conversation, like, as long as there's elite players and players that like each other, they're gonna try to group together, and they're gonna be if they're friends, they're gonna try to play with each other and fucking have fun doing shit, whatever. Live in New York and have fun. I still think it's still possible. Like, this shit is gonna happen. Like, we're just going in. We're seeing the later generations, right? Kevin Durant, I don't know how long he's been in the league, but man's been in the league for a while. And we're seeing like kind of the end of the generation. So it's kind of cool to see the newer guys, young guys, to grow. Guys that we kind of follow through college and just kind of grow, and they'll be the next generation of the next people we see.
So what does this have to do with hitting on Chris Paul, though?
Pretty much.
I just wanted to say it. You just
CP3 and LeBron. They're too old, man. Go retire, man.
Why do you have to throw in LeBron?
Take him to a farm upstate.
LeBron is still a top 5 in the league at age 40. Leave him alone.
Take him to time to put you down.
What's that book? It's like that famous book. I know you know what I'm talking about. That famous fucking book. They did that.
For the young generation, just to tell these guys to retire. Like,
CP3 overrated. I just want to get that in there. I've said it before. I'll say it again. CP3 overrated. Hall of Famer. Overrated.
How so? If he was overrated, he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
Anyways,
all right.
Let's transition to other news. Golf this week. I don't know if you guys have been watching golf.
They fucking golf.
I don't watch golf. Golf is boring as fuck. But
you might find this interesting.
But I do find the story interesting. Yes.
Because we talked about this before. Because Julian, okay, here let me draw you in. Julian, we talked about before about soccer, the Super League. That all these teams are going to leave and make a Super League and make their own thing. Now we have this new thing in golf where they're making live or live. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna call it live because I'm from Miami. That's a club. I'm gonna call it live golf, live golf. I don't know. They're trying to draw players from the PGA, professional players from the PGA Tour, and put them in this new thing. And it's backed and funded by the Saudi Arabia. To make this. They're making it's kind of a super league. They're trying to get all the top players.
They're trying to take down PGA
buku money. They're trying to pay them buku money, more than they ever made, in a year playing the PGA Tour, and bring them over to this thing. And kind of controversy is like, yo, you don't be messing with the Saudis right now. I don't know. They did have a thing where they kind of bonesawed a journalist because he said things against the government. Is that who you really want to associate yourself with as a professional golfer? So, Julian, I'll bring it to you because we had the conversation before with soccer. I know you're in soccer, but how do you feel about this live golf tournament and all these players kind of trying to go over it? Because now to go over the PGA Tour is like kind of suspending them. They're saying you have to resign yourself from the PGA Tour. You cannot come on a professional USA Tour to go do this thing. So, like, Julian, how do you feel about that? Professional players going over living golf. Are they like sacrificing anything, or is it just like, oh, whatever?
I mean, people like obviously the big face of all of this has been Phil Mickelson, because obviously he's one of the greatest golfers ever, and now he's going over there. I mean, for someone like him, what the fuck does he have to lose than just a fat ass payday? So he's like, and this comes at the same time where I guess, from what I'm understanding, a lot of the athletes are kind of upset with the PGA Tour right now for whatever reason. I'm not too sure why, but this is kind of coming in that same time where it's like, all right, they're not liking what's going on with the PGA Tour for whatever reason, and now a lot of their big names are now getting poached over to go over play in the Middle East. And I mean, I get why players do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to take the fattest payday. If they're going to pay you like twice or triple whatever you're getting paid, like I understand you wanting to make that move. I can't fault anybody for that. But I mean, yeah, we've been seeing a lot in the Middle East. I mean, like you specifically with soccer, with the Super League, a lot of those they're are owned by Saudi money. And then you look at the World Cup, like the World Cup in Qatar was only there because they bribed FIFA to getting it there. And then also all those stadiums, I don't know if you know, all those stadiums they're building for the World Cup in Qatar are like fucking has like dead bodies underneath them from all the workers. And like these workers would get dehydrated and die. And they're like hiding the bodies, and like they're trying to expose that. So you're seeing like all kinds of like shady shit going on with all this like big Middle Eastern money. So I could see why people like are kind of like upset about it. But it's like at the end of the day, they got the money, and players are going to want to go play where the money is. And same thing, like you see with the World Cup and everything going on, like they're going to go where the money is. And you see, man, they're trying to really develop like over there with like these big leagues and these big things. Like they're the over there in the Middle East, man, they're pumping so much fucking money into entertainment and league. Like they're trying to get so much tourism going over there. It's insane. And I think it's not going to end. And it's not going to end with golf. It's not going to end with soccer. They're going to keep on going after whatever's next.
I mean, Jojo, how do you feel about like your professional players? Like, I mean, because sometimes we don't really have it in like the professional players that you follow. Like, I'm trying to think of like baseball or whatever. But like players like kind of sacrificing like maybe ethical things that you wouldn't do, right? To go and get paid like legitimately. Like imagine if we had this, we're talking about soccer. A lot of these oligarchs, these Russian oligarchs own English teams, these English soccer teams. And obviously, they started a war, they invade a country for no reason. And there's all these sanctions and bans against a country. It's like, why would you go play or work for a guy that lives in that country or something? Like, how do you feel about the ethics versus over just getting?
It depends on, people's values, right? Like, what do you value more? Like your money or doing the right thing, or how you're viewed? If people don't care about how they're viewed, they're going to go where the money is, and they're just worried about themselves. But if they have good reputations, they do things for the community, you know what I mean? They want to be role models and stuff like that. Those are the type of people who probably won't do those, make those decisions, right? And the unethical decisions. But like Julian said, man, people usually go where the money is. But if there is a flaw in the system, so if people do have reasons to leave the PGA, I think that's what Julian was saying. If they're having issues and there's a solution right next door that's going to offer me more money, yeah, they might look the other way and go with the money and for the quick fix solution. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it's their life, and they could kind of do what they want. And personally, how I feel about it, I just feel like people got to do what's best for them, right? So if they are having issues on the PGA and they don't like what's going on and there's a fix, obviously as fans, we're not going to like it. We're not going to like the change. You're going to want people to stay where they are, and you like how the system's flowing. And a lot of people don't like change.
So, like, Julian, do you feel like they're like committing, like, I don't know if it's like I'm not gonna say like career suicide. Like, are they? Do you think that they'll be welcome back? Because now they have to resign, so they can't be invited to all these tours, these PGA tours. Do you think that like they're kind of just like ending their career, just like this is just a money grab?
I think people like Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, they don't give a fuck. They'll go there, get that fat ass paycheck. They're already deemed as one of the best golfers of their generation. They already make a shit ton of money, and they're about to make even more. They don't give a fuck about going back to the PGA. And I think Phil Mickelson, like, he's content with that. Like, I think a lot of these people are. Like, I think they're content with it. And like I said, it's not. And we're talking about it with golf, but we're not even just seeing it with golf. Like I said, like, you're seeing it with like everything, man. Like, there's more Formula One races there. There's the soccer, the World Cup. Like, there's all this shit, man. Like, they're putting so much money over there because they want to become a big tourist destination. And you got to have things to do. You got to have sports and entertainment. You got to have like attractions and all kinds of stuff. So they're pumping shit like crazy, man. Like, I don't know if you look into like what's going on like Dubai and Qatar and Abu Dhabi and like other places in like Saudi Arabia. Like, it's just money being pumped in to make these super glamorous things to get tourism.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It starts with golf, you know.
Yeah, they're using these leagues,
the
right?
World Cup, but now it's golf too.
Yeah, they're using these like leagues, like it was F1 because they have F1 in Qatar and shit. You're kind of using these leagues to like legitimize their government, right? As a government entity, like, hey, look, we're Qatar. We host F1. We have basketball. We have the World Cup. We have the Olympics or whatever the fuck they want to say. And like I said, Brittany Griner is in Russia. She got arrested in Russia. She's still over there because because they don't make enough in the WNBA. They actually go play in the offseason. They go to Russia and they play in that league. But she got caught up. We're in the middle of a war. There's all kind of sanctions and shit. All kind of political shit. So it's kind of a weird political play, like, and that's kind of the big thing. Like, do you want to go, when Russia invades a country, do you really going to go play for a league that's funded by Russian money?
I was going to say too, like,
Saudi Arabia is like, what's up? Go ahead.
I said, aren't they doing something with basketball too? Like, I thought I heard something about like NBA and like maybe not NBA, but like they're doing something with like basketball. I want to say too. I vaguely remember hearing this. I wasn't sure if you guys heard about that. They're like talking about like building some sort of like massive league and paying a lot of, bro. It's shit's wild. It's wild. And I don't think it's going to end soon. You're going to start seeing more sports, more shit. Like, people are going to start going over there, man. They're going to start. And it's like, I can't, I was going to say, the final thought is like, I'm not going to fault somebody because at the end of the day, it's like, you can look at it as like, this doesn't affect them. Like JoJo was saying, it's like, this is their own life. Like, you can't, the world's an evil place. There's some fucked up shit. You got to go get where the money is. You got to go take care of yourself. Like, and I won't fault somebody for that.
And to speak specifically to Mickelson, I think Mickelson has been, I think he's a known gambler. Right? And a lot of people are suspecting that, like, this guy's like in the hole bad, which is why is he so desperate he can easily just work in America, be fine. Nobody will have any, critiques. Nobody would be having controversy over him. But apparently, allegedly, he's very, deep in the hole, very deep in Vegas, bets a lot of money. So he's very desperate for the money, which is why he'll take it. He'll, subvert his ethics for whatever.
That's wild. If he lost that much fucking money, that dude has made so much money over there. I had no idea he had a gambling. I thought he was
allegedly, a sprinkle allegedly.
Gabe was there. He took photographs. He took them at the card table.
Anyways, let's transition. Let's talk about the NFL because the NFL always makes news even when they're not playing games. Aaron Donald re-signs his biggest deal. I think they restructured his contract. 3-year, $95 million. He said he was going to retire, JoJo, and he's back. 3-year, $95 million. How do you feel about Aaron Donald?
You're forgetting about this too. Before JoJo, you give your point. This is the largest contract for a non-quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. Well, that just shows how much the Rams want to run him back, and they're willing to take all the risks. And honestly, do they even have a salary cap? Like, where
I don't know.
We're not even in the other signings yet, but like, where is this money coming from? Did they take all their Super Bowl win money and just put it into next season to try to run it back? A huge part of that team. Obviously, you wouldn't want to let him go. Money talks. They're gonna stick around for sure. 3 years, not too long of a contract, so I think that's on the safe side. And who's to say they can't win one out of those next 3 years? So they're putting all the chips on the table yet again this season.
Yeah.
Julian, how do you feel about the prospect of the LA Rams running it back? Do you think they'll run it back to back champions?
I don't see anybody in the NFC competing with them. Like I mean Tampa maybe. Like I mean that's the only other team. They're the only team that really gave them a fight. San Francisco seems to have the same exact team. So, but man, I don't know how they get I don't know how they make the cap space because this is also coming off a year before they just signed Allen Robinson. They just gave Matt Stafford a huge contract. Last year, they gave Jalen Ramsey a massive contract. I don't know how they continue to do this. And it's obviously very strategic because it's all 3 years. They're not super long contracts. I would like to see the breakdown of them because a lot of it might be signing bonuses. And recently, I know that's been kind of a way to kind of get around the salary cap is getting massive signing bonuses and then backloading the contract later. So like he might be getting paid $30 million signing bonus, but then he's only taking a $2 million salary cap hit because all of it's on his set. And then they're going to backload the rest of it on the back end of the contract. Like they do with Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes, all that, he's not seeing $500 million right now. He's not seeing a large part of that right now. He's going to see that later on, and they're probably going to do something else later on. Yeah, obviously salary cap raises every single year. So by the time he gets to the last part, so it's, man, there's like salary cap geniuses out there that teams specifically hire just to work the salary cap. Yeah. Like, all right. And that's for any sport. Like their job is just to manipulate it and figure out how they can do it. And it's wild. And I mean, honestly, he's very deserving of it. I mean, he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest defensive linemen in history. I mean, his dominance has been unreal and he's still got years left and he's showing no sign of slowing down. The only reason why he would want to retire is because he just wants to step away from the game, not because the game's stepping away from him. So it's wild, man. 3 years, 95 mil. I would like to see that. I got to look at the breakdown of that. I'm curious how that is broken down.
I think he's deserving. One of the weirdest things from the Super Bowl is like we saw him talk afterwards, and I was really convinced, like, oh, this guy's done. Like he just wants to live his life. Like he's worried, he's thinking about his kids, his family, whatever. Like I was like, he's probably done. Like he it's not that he can't do the job, right? Like he's not, he can still physically be elite, but like I think mentally, like I thought I was like, this guy's out of here. So extend him 3 years. I don't think he's going to see the end of his. You think he's going to see the end of his contract? Because I don't think he's going to see the end of his contract.
Oh yeah, he's going to see the end of it. Yeah, that's a lot to get paid money, man. Okay, Donald's guarantees will be paid out. Oh, actually, his final year won't be guaranteed. So 2024 won't be guaranteed. 2022 and 2023 will be guaranteed money. So that will be no dead cap hit to the Rams if he decides to retire, cut their losses with them in 2024.
I assume so. I think he has a season in him, but it's going to be difficult. I mean, once you win the chip, like you're at the highest of high. Like, why would you settle for like, oh, we got knocked out the second round or some shit? Like, why would you?
Yeah, because he has $65 million guaranteed.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think Aaron Donald, he's still, he's like I said, he can still go do the job. Like he's still going to be effective. I just wonder like how much of his heart is in it. I don't know. Let's also talk about what was up?
I was gonna say, I mean, he came back for a reason, but then a part of me is like, man, that's a fuck ton of money. Like, I can't imagine him saying no if he can't.
The whole team is pretty much still intact. I don't see why. They probably added like, oh, hey, we could probably win another one.
Well, they added pieces. Like,
let's also talk about Cooper Kupp. The wide receiver got extended 3 years, $80 million for Cooper Kupp. I mean, I thought he was pretty dominant. Like I think he's very well deserving. Like he's pretty productive right now. He's the hottest, one of the hottest receivers in the league.
Triple crown. Yeah, he deserved that.
He just got the highest guaranteed contract for a wide receiver ever, $75 million over the course of 3 years.
So Jojo, how do you feel about Cooper Kupp? Is he deserving or is just overrated? Paid him too much?
Nah, definitely not overrated. We saw how much they needed him in that Super Bowl game. When they stopped giving him the ball, we're like, you literally have the answer right in front of you. Just give the man the ball, and look what happened. came in clutch with that touchdown at the end. But Triple Crown winner in football, like come on. Receptions, touchdowns, yards, like that's insane. He definitely deserves, and they won. You guys won ultimately, so that was a huge piece of your team, and you want to keep him around. Hey, man, you could give the quarterback credit too, but the receiver, he's getting yards after the catch. He's making sure he's staying in bounds. All these little extra things that you don't see from everyone else. These clutch plays, like he's making it happen for that team.
Bro, I mean, that Rams offense is going to be insane. I mean, because they essentially have 2 number 1 wide receivers. They signed Allen Robinson. They have extended Cooper Kupp. And then you're getting Robert Woods back coming off his ACL. Like, bro, oh my God. And then they also, on the defensive side, they signed Bobby Wagner in the offseason. Like, and the craziest thing to me is it's not even like they're doing what Tampa did, where the guys in Tampa, they're taking pay cuts to stay on that team. The Rams, these guys aren't taking pay cuts. They're breaking records. And that's what's blowing my mind is like, how in the hell? Like, I bet you even Tampa's like, what the fuck? Because it's like these guys in Tampa, they had to take pay cuts so they could stay together. I mean, these guys in Los Angeles, they're getting paid buku dollars. And it's insane. But they're all short deals.
Man, I think Gabe might be funding the team.
Obviously.
Gabe, you're an insider. You know something that we don't know. You're out here sending funds to LA.
I would investments, and you know what? They just grow. And then I talk to my accountant, and then
I would like to see a breakdown of that salary cap. I want to know who's getting paid. Like how many? Like how does it equal out to under the salary cap? And then meanwhile, you have like the teams like the New Orleans. Then you have teams like the New Orleans Saints who are going to suck ass, but yet they're like over the cap by like $30 million. Makes absolutely no sense.
It's all management on the team. I bet you Sean McVay is not even getting paid. He's just putting on the money.
He's like, fuck it. He's like, yeah, I'll get paid later. He's like, I'm 33 years old. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Like,
no draft, and they got no draft picks. Like I mean, honestly. I didn't even think about it, but maybe that could be – obviously draft picks aren't taking too much money, but you have to leave salary cap space for your incoming draft picks. And they probably had 3 maybe, like late round guys that are getting paid like league minimum, like $1 million. Like $1 million, I think is league minimum, $1.5 million. It's
crazy.
But I don't know how they do it. They look like they're on track to just run it back because they look stronger than they even did last year. Yeah.
So let's finish it. Last topic. Let's talk about the controversy. I guess another controversy we're ended on. Let's see how much conversation we get on. Cleveland Browns. Their starting quarterback. They traded a lot for it to get him.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Cam Newton thing.
Nah, hell no. We don't talk about
Cam. That shit was hilarious. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about Deshawn Watson real quick. Obviously. There's no criminal situation going on, but he does have civil suits. I believe it's 23 or 24 women.
Now it's 24.
24. Now it's 24. So if you thought 23 was too much, here's 24. Do you really think Deshaun Watson, do you think he will be clear? Do you think you'll see him play a game? Do you see him take a snap? I don't know if you've been following closely. His lawyer's been out here recently going on radio shows, TV, trying to defend his name. Just a little, just a little pick me up, a little, a little extra, a little, happy.
What did he say? He said something like there's nothing wrong with taking happy endings or some shit like that. He said something ridiculous. I was like, why would you say that? Like, why would you say that?
Why'd you go out in public and say that on your own accord? You don't have to go through it. What was it about? And then I think he retracted it. I think he went.
How many massages did he have in the past couple of months?
40. He had 48, and then 20. Now 24.
Allegedly,
lawsuits.
Allegedly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Julian, I'll talk to you first because you're the football guy. You're our football master right here, football analyst. Will Deshaun Watson see a snap? Will he get punished by the NFL, or do you think nothing's going to happen? We'll see him week 1.
I mean, since those charges got dropped, see, I don't know what that entails with this new one coming in. Obviously, when the stuff got dropped this past offseason a couple months ago and the Browns traded for him, everything looked to be like kind of clear, like he's going to play. But now I don't know how this new thing like throws a wrench in it. But I don't know. I would have to see like look more and read more about how this new thing would like affect the way if he'll suit up this fall. If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say he's playing, man. Like we've seen it time and time and time again that these guys, they do this off the field shit and they always end up coming back because talent is more important than anything else. So, I mean, how many people have we seen over the past, like, since we've started watching sports, do some fuck shit on the off the field, and then still get to play? I mean, we've seen it countless times. I think it's in his favor. At the end of the day, he's a young guy who can play the position well, and that is a very, very hot commodity, as you guys can tell. So he's most likely going to play. If not this season, eventually he will.
How much attention has been on him in the last 2 seasons. Ever since he requested that trade, all of these things pop up. Obviously proven, innocent until proven guilty. But do you think the NFL should be proactive on this and serve a punishment for accusations, or wait until there's actual proof around these accusations? Because it's always a tough call. They're always stuck in the middle. It's like if you always hear like if you get enough accusations, then there's obviously going to be some proof. There's going to be some reality in it, right? Like, but then again, without an investigation and everything, it's like, how do you actually know?
There's one thing. So here's what I think. There's a difference between what I think should happen and then what I think was accurate to happen. I think Julian was talking about earlier. What I think is gonna happen is this guy's gonna actually play, because for them to trade so much, for the Browns to trade so much,
they know something
to the Houston. I don't think they would have done that without approval or like running it by the commissioner or running it by the commissioner who's like in charge of all the other 30. The commissioner is he's just the fucking puppet for just all 30 of the owners. So if they were allowed to trade him, I don't think they would trade him for nothing without running it by, thinking that if he wasn't going to play, if they actually thought he was going to get arrested, something was going to happen to him, then I don't think that.
Why waste your picks?
That trade, yeah. Why waste your picks? Why waste your? If that wasn't run by the top, it wouldn't have happened. So I think he's actually going to play. I think it'll be just a thing. They're going to try to shrug it under the rug. That's what I think will happen. I think he will play. Nothing will happen to him. They'll probably eventually settle, whatever. But yeah, it's really bad. It's bad. I don't want to be, we were associated earlier, me as a Dolphins fan, I'm wearing my Dolphins hat, associated with Watson. I already told y'all guys, I was like, yo, if we get Watson,
you don't want to deal with that.
No way in hell. I don't want to deal. I don't want nothing to do with any of that.
I'm surprised I'm surprised Cleveland went out and did it, honestly.
What more? It's one of the crazy. And not only that, they gave him one of the highest paid contract, like the highest. They gave him a raise.
And he was already making a ton of money.
He hasn't thrown a ball when they gave him whatever. So yeah, I do think he's gonna play. If they suspend him, it's not gonna be. We've seen other shit that's going on, Jojo. In baseball, Trevor Bauer got suspended for pretty much 2 years. He got pretty much exempt for 2 years for some sexual assault shit, and that's just one person allegedly. I'll break allegedly on it. I think he's gonna play. Not that I think. Not that I want him to play. I think he's gonna play.
So here's my thing too. I think it's tricky as well, because it's like, is it right to punish someone as if even though the courts don't punish him? Is it right for a league to suspend somebody and punish somebody if the own courts and whatever the outside stuff deemed that he's clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if stuff comes out and then it turns out, things are going to get dropped or whatever, is it really in the NFL? Like if they already deemed him as okay for whatever reason, why should the league fine him or suspend him?
All right. Well, then I would bring up. I would bring up. I can bring up Greg Hardy. Right. There's no video of him allegedly beating his girlfriend, but there was pictures of the aftermath, and that's why pretty much. I mean, I think Greg Hardy still got signed. Got signed by Dallas and still got booted out. Now he's in the UFC.
That dude's in the UFC now.
Yeah. I can bring up Ray Rice.
But were they actually? Were they actually like what ended up happening from them outside the field though? I don't know exactly what happened. Like
I said, Greg Hardy got signed after that. I think he was with Washington, or no, he was with Carolina, Washington. I forget where Greg Hardy was, but then he got signed by Dallas for like.
What I'm saying is, if they don't go to jail, like I think these league they don't care if they're not in jail and they could play. They're walking around a free man. They're gonna play. Like that's just how.
Well, that's why I bring up Ray Rice, because Ray Rice she saw the video. But what ended up happening was the wife ended up dropping the charges. So she didn't want to complain, whatever. She didn't want to testify or whatever. Charges got dropped. It disappeared. Although we saw the video. Yeah. There was no, he didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
He got arrested, but he didn't go to jail. And then pretty much his career ended because he was kind of blackballed outside the league. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, we talk about Deshawn Watson. Like, it's just, it's toxic. Deshaun Watson is toxic. I mean, I don't want to, I wouldn't want to be the person or a team or a franchise or whatever associated with him. But
I always said too, it's always weird. Like if you wanted like legit massages, why not just go to your league? Like you're at one of the biggest, craziest training facilities on the planet, and like these NFL training facilities with professional massage therapists. Just fucking go there. But he's clear. I don't know. Who knows what happens? But I think he's gonna play. I think we all think he's going to play. So it's pretty.
All right, let's end this on a happier note. Cam Newton. Cam Newton said
that's not happy. That is not. That is not.
Cam Newton says he's better than 32 other quarterbacks. Jojo, did you believe Cam Newton? Do you think Cam Newton is better than 32 or 31 other quarterbacks?
First and foremost, you have to have faith in yourself. So kudos to him. Right? You got to speak into existence. Because if you're not gonna say it, then who will? But the answer is no. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He's better than 32 backups if that's what he meant. Maybe he deserves to be a starter if that's what he's trying to insinuate. He's not better than 32 starters. So I mean,
because I don't know if you guys saw the clip of or what it came from. This is during the Pivot podcast that they do with Channing Crowder, Ryan Clark, and Fred Taylor. They were part of the I Am Athlete thing, but they left and did their own thing. But yeah, they Channing Crowder. Somebody echo in. Yeah, okay, there we go. But yeah, pretty much he called them out. He was like, "Hey, I think I'm better than 32 players." And changed up. Cam, don't lie. You know you ain't no. And it was just seeing that interaction. You guys have to check it out. It was a really cool interaction, but it kind of led to the question around everybody's I mean, is he should he be a starter somewhere? I don't necessarily think he should be a starter. I don't think he's earned the right to be a starter, but I do think he should be a backup. He deserves to be in the league. He has the quality to be a backup. And he talks about how he was putting himself in bad situations, which I agree with. I think going to New England wasn't smart. Trying to play in Carolina last year wasn't smart. And he even acknowledges that in the interview. And I think that's kind of tainted the way people look at him. But yeah, he's not better than 32 other players. If you want to say he deserves to probably have a starting shot in Seattle, I did, but I don't think anybody's signing him to be all right. You're going to be our designated starter because at the end of the day, man, he's old, he's banged up, and I think a lot of guys are just going to want to take that chance on younger, healthier people that have more upside.
You still think Cam Newton's got it? He got something in the tank like Russell Westbrook or your LA Lakers? Has he got something in the tank or no?
As a backup, yeah, for sure. Unless he's put him on the worst team in the league, that has no hopes and dreams. Nah, honestly, man, like he's not as bad as you guys trying to take him out to be. It's again like trying to go to New England, take over Tom Brady's spot. Like, they're gonna have high expectations over there right away.
That was a bad team. Like that was a bad team.
Bad situation. I mean, he took on the challenge. It didn't work out. And then to go back home to Carolina, right? That was a hit or miss situation, right? You got bad blood with them towards the end of your cycle there the first time. They wanted you out. You try to redeem yourself, go back. But again, like not everyone's going to be having open arms with you there, especially if you don't perform well. So if you're not performing and show that you change a little, it's just going to divert back into a bad situation. Who knows what the next opportunity would be for Cam as a starting position.
And I think the thing too is like these teams, like they don't want him as a backup because of the whole, his whole persona and like everything about him. So I think it's hard for teams to like, do I want Cam Newton as a backup if he's going to come here and keep on thinking that he's going to start and he's going to like do all this, even though I think he deserves to be a backup. He has the quality to be a good backup. But I could see why the same thing with the Tebow thing. It's like Tebow probably could have been a backup, but just that whole thing around them, it just makes it so tough. And
like Melo.
Yeah. And and he talks about when he went to Carolina, it's like that was a bad situation. He was signed Thursday and then played Sunday on a brand new playbook he's never seen before. And then he started the week after that. In 10 days, he had to learn a whole new playbook. And that is tough. It takes players months to learn. And let alone from the quarterback position. That's already hard enough from like other positions. But then as a quarterback to try to pick up a playbook. And I don't know if you guys remember, but like at the end of the season when he was playing, he was pretty much they were just running him a lot of times because he wasn't comfortable with the playbook yet. But there's also some things, they're bad situations, but there's just moments where you looked at Cam and he just didn't look good. His accuracy was terrible. He didn't have a smooth spiral. He was missing guys. Like there was also some things at his own fault. Yeah, he didn't have the best supporting cast around him, but you do pick and choose where you decide to go. And then even though those opportunities where you had good chances to kind of make good big plays, he did drop the ball. He didn't do it well. And yeah, I don't think he's better than 32 other players though. He's probably top 40. He deserves to be a backup, but he's not getting another starting chance.
I think that's the tragedy of like an aging star, right? Because he started his whole life. He was really good. He was on fire, whatever, at the beginning of his career. But like now he has that mindset of like, yo, I'm a starter, I'm a beginner. Like, but then physically not the same or whatever, like he did before. Like that's the story of, I don't know. You can name any star that didn't age well at the end. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson have the same future.
Only the future will tell. We'll talk about it next week. We talk back. Real Fans Podcast, episode 56 in the books. We did it. I'm Gabe. That's Julian. That's JoJo.
54.
Sorry.
God damn it, Gabe. Oh wait, Gabe, we can't hear JoJo. But he said peace out. He said
peace. He said peace out.
Thinking about the future right now. That's why he said he's.
Hey, all right.
He's thinking about next week.
JoJo, where can they find the podcast?
Instagram, Twitter, Real Fans Podcast, Apple Podcasts. What other podcasts? Everywhere podcasts. We're everywhere, guys. Come on, you can find us at YouTube.
We appreciate the subscribes, all the downloads. We appreciate y'all just checking us out anywhere you can find podcasts, anywhere you can find YouTube, whatever we're at. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week. More Real Fans Podcasts. Peace.